Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hitbox Stormgrounds Invitational. We're currently in the draft. Teams are just banning out the maps, but just quickly before that, Forecourt has a very special opportunity to tell you guys about.
Alright, just for you, you lucky viewers, we're going to be giving away 2 prizes today on stream. Steel Series Sensei Raw, the Heroes of the Storm edition, or you can be finding yourself going home with this Steel Series Sensei, the Steel Series KCK, or the K, no, wow, this is a tongue twister.
QCK.
QCK, wow. Not entirely too sure what that actually stands for, what could that Q actually mean, but it's also the Heroes of the Storm edition, and we are going to be giving it away to you lucky viewers because you have multiple ways to win. If you are watching the stream, of course, hit the follow button on Hitbox, and you'll be finding yourself in that draw for one of those fantastic prizes. If you'd like to Facebook, head on over to facebook.com/SteelSeries and leave a wall post of I love #Stormgrounds. And you know, again, that's going to be putting it into the draw. And the other way to do it is, of course, Twitter, use that social media, go out there and use the hashtag Stormgrounds in your tweet to be included in the prize draw. And I believe we're going to be giving away one, if not both of those, by the end of today's broadcast.
Yep, it's going to be very exciting. Steel Series stuff, always very cool, and really glad they are helping by supporting this tournament. It's very cool. And for now, though, we have to talk about the map bans, because we've managed to fill enough time. We're down to 2 maps. It is the Blackheart's Bay and the Cursed Hollow, and I'm pretty sure we can guess which one it will be. But we both were talking about earlier, we do like the Blackheart's Bay.
Oh, it's not Blackheart's
Bay. Yeah, it's cursed. We like Blackheart's Bay because, well, Blackheart is one of the coolest map objectives in the game.
Alright, so before we get into the picks and bans going back and forth, I have been told that we are actually giving away both prizes all 3 days. 6 prizes in total. So a lot of draws for you guys to be jumping into, a lot of chances to go home with some sweet swag. Thank you so much, Steel Series. And on that note, let us see what Virtus.pro and Team Roccat is going to be doing here on Cursed Hollow.
That is very cool. And yeah, Virtus.pro versus Roccat, for those of you who don't know, these 2 teams have been away for a very long time, for example. Then Virtus.pro is what used to be Team Arthur Stroitram, and Team Roccat is the team that used to be Well Met. So both of them have been picked up by Orcs. Very, very well deserved. Very cool to see them. And going to be going up against each other in this match. First ban, the Johanna ban by Virtus.pro.
If Roccat doesn't go for Uther, I think they're not going to be living up to their Well Met name. But alright, so Zeratul is out. The very common second ban. If you're not first pick, well, you're probably just forced into that Zeratul ban. You know, team's pending, but it is a very popular way to go. The Johanna ban means that Cursed Hollow, Virtus.pro, I guess, have run into quite some luck up against the tanky warrior with that Asmodan comp is what I would be looking at. So having that as a ban means they don't have to worry about the big guy.
And once again, for the 2nd game in a row, we do see Jaina as the very first pick. Teams really targeting her as that incredible assassin.
She's just that first pick in general. Unless you're going to be running something really specialized or your name is 2-Arc, Jaina left on the board is almost always a first pick.
Yeah, but just like, oh, this is available, it is now mine. And Roccat, they do now get the first pick. They can either go for one of those ranged assassins if they want to prioritize those, or they do get the very first choice if they want in terms of warriors that are left, as the Johanna has been banned, so they could grab the Muritin. But they're going to start off with the Kael'thas, and they could also get supports early if they want to. But if I had to guess, they will probably grab Muradin here. If I was a betting man,
I would actually put my money on Sylvanas.
Sylvanas also a very good option, but there is the Muradin.
I lost my money.
So Virtus.pro, this is where I would say someone's going to pick up Sylvanas. Jaina Sylvanas, always an incredible combo that you can bring in, and this is how almost exactly how it used to be as well back in the day, where Kael'thas was the higher priority pick than Jaina, where it was basically Kael'thas first pick, and then the other team would instantly pick Jaina Sylvanas. It's just in a slightly different order this time.
Well, it's almost always the big mage picks in these first few rounds. Now that we have double ban is pretty much a commonality these days. You know, if you can get a damage in a tank or a damage in a support, or you can just go flat out huge damage because of those picks just left there on the board in the first rounds. It's you know, those are typically the big 3 strategies. You call the Muradin, And there it is for Roccat. So Johanna out,
Ooh.
Mirrodin out. Could be a warrior ban go in the second round for Roccat, but Vala as a
That's
prioritization here from Virtus.
interesting. If they don't pick Sylvanas here, I'm going to be very confused because prioritizing Valor over Sylvanas is a very just interesting play. You do not see it very often, but we will have to see. They may just go for their support here if they want it, or their warrior to make sure that Roccat doesn't ban anything else out.
I would put faith in a warrior pick right here because with the Mirrodin there and the Johanna already out, Team Roccat could actually, look for a ban, which could put Virtus a little bit off their game. But Vala, Jaina, Tyrael, very interesting as the way to go so far.
It is very interesting indeed, but it does make me think that at least one of these teams is going to ban out that Sylvanas. I would expect it to be Virtus.pro, as Roccat, if they had that option, would probably love to pick up Sylvanas to go with that Kale Pass. Would be a beautiful pickup for them. But
Rockat's going to have the next picks. So who do they want to try to limit? Virtus.pro needs the support, right? So if Roccat is going to be likely into a support in the next round, this would be where I would expect a support ban.
Yeah, but Roccat may want to first pick their support as well, so it's very interesting to see which one is going to pick up what. And they're taking quite a lot of time with their ban. They are into their bonus pool. So see what they do fish out of that. And yeah, like I said, the support needs to be banned. And then any kind of a melee assassin, if that's going to be an option, to ban out along with Zeratul, or another range damage dealer, or the double warrior comp, banning out extra warriors. But with both teams already getting their priority warriors, banning out a second warrior I don't think is too high priority here.
Yeah, if we see another double warrior comp, then apparently EU has changed much more than I thought. In terms of a Sylvanas ban, I think that would actually land to Virtus.pro at this point.
I would agree.
Roccat does not really have any kind of pressure because, as I said, they're going to have those next pick phases coming up. So they shouldn't be prioritizing a Sylvanas ban unless they absolutely don't want to play with it or against it. And it is actually going to be that support ban. So this is where Virtus, again, needs to really see, are they afraid of leaving that Sylvanas unfettered? And if so, will that take up this ban slot? If it's not going to be a Sylvanas,
no, another support ban.
I was going to say it could be the other support.
That's interesting, because it does limit their own support picks. Because Roccat are now forced basically onto the Rhaegar in terms of support, but that limits Virtus.pro quite a lot in terms of their support pick, because Roccat can very easily just go for Rhaegar Sylvanas here, still get the Sylvanas, and it's a bit weird, I feel.
What's the state of Brightwing in Europe?
Not too highly picked nowadays.
Because Virtus.pro, when I've watched them in the Go for Heroes over the weekend, almost ran exclusively Brightwing.
Yeah, she has popped her head in quite a few times, especially seeing as her polymorph is still very decent. But she's not picked as much as she was pre-patch, where it was basically only Brightwing first pick kind of thing in terms of supports.
I think Virtus set this up so that Roccat is forced into Rhaegar, and that Virtus will be more than happy to pick up the Brightwing.
Yeah, I think you are probably right. Or they could go with a hero that we've actually seen creep her way back into the meta recently, or not into the meta, just creep her way into a couple games, is the Lily. She's popped her head in nowadays, especially with the Herbal Cleanse Kung Fu Hustle, which means you can basically get a cleanse every half a second at level 20.
There's that double warrior again.
Yeah, bringing out double warrior. It pops out quite a lot. And just using the Rhaegar for the Kael'thas, and they still need enough range. Just still not prioritizing that Sylvanas. Just completely leaving it out so far.
So Brightwing Zagara then?
Brightwing Zagara, Brightwing Sylvanas. They could steal her as well.
The bigger the difference between Zagara versus Sylvanas here is just like what we saw in game number 1 with Team Liquid controlling the battlefield with that Maw. I think with the double warrior engage, you're going to be looking for it. But
Tyrande Brightwing.
So it's the same concept. The Maw is an AoE disable. At the same time, you can do the same with Lunar Blaze and Lunar Flare a little bit later on for the Tyrande. But I guess they also want to just try to melt down. They got Jaina, they got Vala. That's going to be the vulnerability with Hunter's Mark. So if one of these warriors jump in, Vala could actually go for the single target build. Manticore and Giant Killer Searing attacks.
It is, in fact, very possible indeed. But
that would melt one of the warriors. Yeah.
Exactly. But we do actually see Tyrande quite a lot in this particular kind of comp. But it is still quite interesting. It's just extra vulnerables. They currently have a couple of vulnerables on the team in the form of the Jaina vulnerable and just the Hunter's Mark. But Jaina could be going for the root in this particular matchup, just in case the
I would
Warriors do
expect
just go very aggressively onto her.
Yeah, I would 100% see root. Not entirely too sure if Brightwing 16 will actually still go for the Critterize because of the vulnerability.
Does
but
she still have it?
That's a good question, actually. we don't see Brightwing ever in North America, and we needed a damage here from Roccat. No Sylvanas on the board. It will actually be the Falstead.
She
So
does still
again,
have it.
they're looking for the lockup into the hinterlands. They got Kale as well. So between the two of them, the double mage synergy is going to be looking to try to do as much work as they can. The big problem is, again, Tyrande, she can get shields. Brightwing with the Soothing Mists and the Phase Shield build that we definitely see more and more. The Polymorph to interrupt a lot of these combos. This could actually be a Virtus.pro draft in the bag right here.
Very possibly indeed. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool to see. I'm very curious to see how they do this, because Team Roccat, like you said, huge amount of burst damage in that background. If they get a fully stacked Hinterland Blast and a fully stacked Flame Strike Ignite combo, etc., then they're going to burst down pretty much anyone on the side of Virtus.pro, no matter how many shields or heals are coming out of Tyrande and Brightwing, because Brightwing doesn't have her Healing Gust anymore, which sends out the repeated waves for her healing. She now has to rely on basically her Pixie Dust, and the Phase Shift build is very popular nowadays, so lots of shields for her team.
Yeah, that's what I've definitely seen more often than not. But a lot of the time, as a level 4 Brightwing using Peekaboo to cloak, use the vision, reveal cloakers in the large area, that's usually what you'll see up against the stealth. No stealth here, so if it's not going to be the Peekaboo at level 4, I mean, could be Unstable Anomaly, could be the Manic Pixie, but as you said, Hyper Shift is very, very common these days. The Phase Shield itself at level 7. And from there, I think it's either going to be Pixie Boost or Shield Dust into the Critterize. It's what I've seen in the past, but Virtus.pro definitely showing us a little bit different of drafting tactics. Could be a different build here as well.
Indeed, I am very excited about it. For now, we're just waiting for the players to make their way into the lobby, and we will get this underway. But assassin-wise, I think Virtus.pro, I'm still quite surprised they picked Valor over the Sylvanas, but we'll have to see how they build it, because the reason I can think of the reason they would do that is she does have the extra range in terms of harass due to multi-shot having a bit of a shorter cooldown than Haunting Wave, so she can deny turn-ins a bit more. In fact, the entire team of Virtus.pro very good with denying Tyrael with the long-range Elduin Smite, the Arcane Flare from Brightwing, Jaina with almost two of her abilities, the Blizzard and the Frostbolt, and Valor multi-shot. And Tyrande, with pretty much everything she has, is built to be annoying when you're trying to grab this tribute. They can delay for a very long time, and if they can be soaking XP while they do that, then they could get a pretty significant advantage over Roccat.
I would expect Valor to be going for a Rain of Vengeance here. If you do dive in with the Mirrodin, with the Anubarak, Rhaegar's running in for that melee as well to get down those totems and shields and auto attacks, then the Rain of Vengeance will come out huge. Because we don't have a ton of actual hard CC here. It's only the Val, it's only the Tyrande with the Lunar Flare. So the Rain of Vengeance as a linear, especially because, again, Cursed Hollow, there's a lot of hallways, there's a lot of fight points in small areas. You can get some really big value for that counter stun, that counter engage from Vala with that Rain.
Very true. And the Strafe can be interrupted in so many ways by Team Roccat. It's just way too risky to take. Like, Anubarak has 2 ways on his own. Mirrodin has 2 if you count his heroic. Anubarak actually has 3 if you count his heroic. And Kael'thas, just one globe into the Gravity Lapse, and he's just got a multiple team knockout, which can include the Valor, which can make a difference. But now we're just waiting for the last player on the side of Roccat to ready up, and we can get this game underway, and we're very excited for that.
So Cursed Hollow, a big thing that I talked about earlier was Falstad. So Falstad on this map, at least compared to Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's much bigger. You can get a lot more global presence and much more usefulness out of your fly. Brightwing as well. I mean, because she is going to be flying around using her phase shields and phase shifts, I mean, you are going to be seeing some decent amounts of split from probably both players right there. In terms of team fights, if it is going to be a similar build from Falstad, just like what we saw before, with the secret weapon, likely into the Giant Killer later on, then I'd want to see the Falstad kind of doing some flanking maneuvers. Look to get into that backline, hit hard on Jaina, hit hard on Vala, and then just try to capitalize on the confusion of the engage from Anub'arak from the Mirrodin. It's worked out great here in NA when it does actually come to fruition. I'd like to see it here because Jaina and Vala both very squishy into that backline. Vala is almost going to be forced into that spell shield because of the Kael'thas Falstad danger in that regard. So if Falstad can keep that backline busy while the front line engages, Roccat has a big opportunity to capitalize on that kind of confusion.
Very, very true indeed. But we have to take into account the fact that Virtus.pro actually do have a fairly decent counter to the whole Kael'thas Flame Strike dealy. If they can, one, prevent him from getting the stacks with the whole Tyrael Burst if they go for the Judgment, they could even run Tyrael with Sanctification to block out the entire damage from that Flame Strike and the Hinterland Blast, which is a huge part of Rockat's whole damage strategy. And there's the fact that Tyrael gives shields, Tyrande gives heals herself, especially at level 13, and Brightwing just passive heals over time. They can deal with that large area damage overall over time. But for now, it's time to introduce the teams. So, ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, it is going to be Team Virtus.pro. And starting in the mid lane, playing the Tyrael, it is going to be BKB. Don't even try to say his full name. In the top lane, playing the Vala, it is going to be Unstable. In the top part of the top lane, playing the Tyrande, it is Sebkea. Playing the Jaina, it is going to be Andy Lendy. And currently just hovering around near the bot lane, but not actually going into lane yet, it is going to be the Brightwing, who is being played by Kuni-chan.
And of course, on the right-hand side, it is going to be Team Roccat. This is going to be looking to put the point on the board. It is best of ones, after all. So, you know, got to put your best foot forward. We just saw Team Liquid with an outstanding win. So we're going to be looking, you know, for Sake and crew here to be looking to see if this double warrior comp can actually redeem itself.
Yeah, Sportbilly just revealing that he is in fact the one in this top lane with his Beetle by shielding up. There are a Sebkea and a Andy Lendy just hovering in the bush next to him. He may not know they're there. He could throw out a spike bed to find out. But right now, just playing very carefully, not risking it. And when he there we go, there is the Ice Lance from Jada, and immediately Sportbilly backing out. But that was in time to make him miss a minion worth of XP. It's only a single minion, but it's a nice little pushback.
Oh, well, 1 minion here, 1 minion there. Soon 100 minions.
Yeah,
you got yourself that lead. I'm looking at the talents here, and Vala is actually starting things off with a Q build. So if she is going to be looking for that health return into 4 arrows, 8 arrows, the double on, or the Caltrops as well, you are going to be having a really nice, safe dueling build from her.
Yep, it's one of the builds that you run against those burst compositions like this one. The huge amount of damage coming in from the Falstad Kael'thas is very nicely mitigated by that huge health regen that you get, like you did say. Brightwing starting off with the Unfurling Spray, which increases slowly being missed range by 33%. Very nice considering your team has to stay fairly spread out to avoid Kael'thas and Falstad.
So it's not going to be the phase shift build as of yet, but you know, a little bit of extra range, she's going to need it if she is going to continue to be that target. Lots of siege damage going down early from both sides. Yeah,
but it is very interesting. Falstad, in fact, flying all the way up to the top lane to help out Anub'arak, who was just getting pushed back so hard here, doing a lot of damage to Andy Lendy. Stun does not land from Sebkea, and Haswab having to retreat behind the wall there, gets vulnerable and takes a huge amount of damage early on.
Now we're going to continue into that Q build there from that Vala. Oh man, these gates are just not looking good. We should have that tribute actually spawning about now, I believe.
Oh, here we go, Unstable, being forced to vault out there, and they do get first blood onto Rega and second blood onto Anub'arak. Very nice there by Virtus.pro, way too greedy coming in with this Rega. Nice vault coming in from the Vala.
And look at that, it actually will be that peekaboo from our Brightwing. So first tribute is going to be here, and it will be... Where is it actually?
It is in the bot lane, just above Brightwing and Kael'thas. And Kael'thas does have his lane pushed up very nicely, so gets quite a bit of zoning. Kuni-chan already very low, but he can just be out and teleport straight back in. Soke zoning out BKB for now, giving Sportbilly some time to try and capture here. Shadowmare and Chris both here with him, so this will be first tribute going straight over to Team Roccat.
Yeah, that tribute definitely favored Roccat because of that positioning. Chris versus versus the Brightwing. There's really no chance right there from Kunichan. With everybody top from Virtus.pro, that 3-man push, they were really hoping to capitalize on the global presence from Kunichan to kind of up to the height if they needed it. But it is only the first tribute, so I mean, if you can't get it, and you got everyone else elsewhere, you go merking.
Very true. And I would like to talk about the set level 4 talent that we are seeing from the Tyrande. It is the Searing Arrows, which we did see helping out with that kill earlier. Huge amount of extra damage coming out from your utility hero there, just making her into more of a ranged assassin style character with some extra CC and a heal. Just a huge jack of all trades.
It's a bit mana intensive, but yeah, that extra damage can go a long way. She is the only hero to get it at level 4. It is her hero specific version of Searing attacks. So the Searing Arrows at 4, sure, it's going to be going a long way, but second tribute is also going to be bottom. And again, that's not really favoring Virtus.pro in these exchanges so far.
Yeah, we do see Shadowmare roaming out to try and make sure no one's there, but Tyrael already able to throw out of Elder's Might to prevent the first one. Crispy drops solo, but nice gravity lapse there on 2 members as it was orbs there. BKB taking a lot of damage. Soke and Shadowmare pushing this back. In comes Sport Bully, gets the knock-up onto Unstable. Unstable just backing up, though. He does get a Hunger Arrow, gets a huge amount of health, and gets knocked up by Kael'thas, though. Huge amount of damage. Living Bomb, auto attack from Shadow, from Sport Bully, and he goes down. And now we see Kunichan and BKB trying to turn to Sports Bully to prevent him from escaping, but there's still too many members here from Roccat, and Roccat get their first kill, and they're not done. They're going on to Brightwing here. Knockup comes down, and down she goes. Very well coordinated there by Roccat.
Now remember, all this fight going down south, they had the mercs to help them out. That will get that fort very quickly. But as well, top has been pushing up from Virtus.pro. They were outnumbered in that fight. Veritably, they shouldn't have been that far forward. And was that counter pressure top enough to deal with those losses bottom?
It did do some damage, took down all the towers up there and took some damage to the fort, but not really enough. I wouldn't say it was worth it, or they weren't able to get any counter kills. But this tribute spawning in the top lane is probably not going to be enough. We do see Soke jump in there, going to be able to prevent that with his Stormbolt. But still hanging around. In comes Haswabs as well, so they are trying to prevent this as much as they can. They have 4 members up, so 4 versus 4. Now it is 5 versus 4 in favor of Roccat, but Brightwing can just teleport her way up to prevent this. But the question is, do Virtus.pro want to fight it, that they want to take that kind of risk?
Well, remember, they got Brightwing in that bottom lane, so they are using that global presence. This is what they wanted for that first tribute.
Yeah, just to harass, and there's the Lunar Flare. And Brightwing and Jada both just soaking here. They're just staying as far back as possible. Can they interrupt again? It's getting quite late. No, and there is the curse going over the Roccat, and just Virtus.pro not willing to commit to a point where they might get picked off. So just giving that up when they thought they needed to, and that does give heroics over the Roccat, but Virtus.pro will have them before any kind of team fight happens, and there we go, picking theirs up as well.
A big thing with that bottom push is it put the Team Roccat into that spot where they were going to have those heroics for this tribute. So the poke and soak coming out from Virtus.pro, not enough to deter this first curse. But at the same time, I mean, we have some now. Merc's now going to be on the board here for Virtus.pro. I think that's going to be a boss, pretty just plain and clear there for Roccat. But, you know, we are keeping back many of these waves for Roccat. So they might get 1 fort out of it in a boss, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, Virtus.pro are able to deny that boss for at least a couple seconds. That peekaboo from the Brightwing giving some good vision as to where Roccat are, but Virtus.pro having to back away from this. It's huge. It's quite an eyesore, actually, when you are in solo queue. It's very big and very bright if you're on the enemy team. But it's pretty effective at giving you that vision, and Virtus.pro having to ditch this top boss are instead going for their bot boss. Al will come out. We'll see the Roccat have pretty much finished. Virtus.pro now know that they have easily enough time to finish this boss up for themselves to get a bit of counter push for themselves.
But the earlier maneuver, you know, delayed out this boss. It let the rest of the curse actually finish up. So Virtus.pro with that feint, I mean, they were able to stop out the boss. They were able to clean up a few waves, and now, you know, cleaning up top, cleaning up mid, their own boss here as well. It paid off, you know, very nicely for them because they have their own boss. They don't have to worry about a double pressure, and in terms of the experience, it's almost on parity now.
Very much so. Roccat, though, still playing aggressively. They do raid into the Virtus.pro jungle just to steal their easy camp because they already have a boss in this area, cutting off much of the retreat route that would be available to Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro land a stun there, just throwing out their harassment as much as possible, forcing Roccat to play a bit further back from their boss as they might like to. And Roccat just going to back away from this and go and do other things on the map, like the Bruiser camp that is available for them, and to clear up this bottom boss of Virtus.pro. But the fort appears to be doing a pretty decent job of that on its own.
Yeah, pushing with the boss will almost always just get you so much farther than just letting the boss do it on its own. So, I mean, the bottom boss for Virtus.pro, yeah, it almost got a fort, but I mean, look how much pressure the top one got all the way to keep, and that gave the map positioning now for Roccat to push in on mid. As you said, there's bruisers, there's giants. The map is very much in their control at this point.
Yeah, they did not start those bruisers though, and because of that, Virtus.pro already moving their way towards that to see if they can catch anyone out, because it's the only objective currently available other than the easy camp, which we do see Roccat taking because it is the safer one. But that does give Virtus.pro the chance to steal this, but in comes the rest of Roccat to try it and steal it back. Camp does get leashed, but they're able to attack it before the health comes back, and Roccat able to pick it up by basically making Virtus.pro do all the work for them.
Well, it's a tried and true standard creep jack.
Very much so. And all mercenaries on the map pretty much in favor of Roccat at the moment. They have a bruiser in the mid and an easy in the bot lane. All other mercenaries are on cooldown for the moment. And level 13 is now available for both teams. So we'll see how much of a difference that can make. There is the tribute. It's very much in Roccat territory, but there is a chance that Virtus.pro could push their way in, but they'd have to go through the death rush in order to get a good angle.
Now, Brightwing and Falstead were in that bottom lane. They were, again, relying upon their global passes in order to make it up to this next tribute. This will be a 0-0 tribute, so it's not the end of the world if either side does grab it, but how big of a fight are we going to see?
Well, we saw a little bit of an engage there. Very nice play by Sport Billy and Shadowmare to get Sport Billy out of there. Flame Strikes are just going down here and there, though, just keeping the zoning potential of Roccat up as high as possible. Soke gets a stun. Nice Blizzard, though, coming down from the Jada. Web Blast has been used. Soke being dropped very low. Hinterland Blast lands on about 2 members, but is it going to be enough? Hasselhoff's being kept alive. No one died somehow during that entire thing, but Virtus.pro going to get a great fight. An incredible Blizzard are able to zone very heavily, and they continue to give chase. Cleanse does go down onto someone, and Kunichan is able to pick up the tribute in the background, and then Blink heals in. Unstable, not giving up, but is forced to back away as everyone from Roccat has already retreated. And once again, somehow no one in that fight died.
Big credit to the healers right there. I mean, the double heals coming out from Virtus.pro. The Rhaegar just working overtime. He does have the level 13 healing. The level 1 Rhaegar talent is actually a shield talent. I didn't notice that until now.
I also didn't notice that. It is the Empowering Charge, which Lightning Shield gives the next 3 basic attacks of the target a extra 30% damage. Pretty nice adding that onto Falstad if he'd gone for the secret weapon, which he has, and Static Shield from the Falstad as well. Not a Giant Killer, but with that extra damage from the Empowering Charge, may not even need it. And the only thing Giant Killer would benefit really a huge amount on is Tyrael.
Yeah, I'm not entirely too sure exactly who that shield is for, but I mean, if you're going to be spamming out the shield, I guess 3 basic attacks could go a long way, especially with the squishy lineup from Virtus.pro. So far, I wouldn't say that it's been a successful talent pick, but at the same time, level 14 from both sides. I'm curious to see, with that healing surge, are we going to see tidal waves at 16 for this Rhaegar?
We will have to see. Indeed, it's a very lovely talent, especially in the middle of those big AoE team fights that we are seeing from both teams here, especially seeing as Jaina did take the Snowstorm talent, and taking that without any kind of mana, not taking Conjure Pursuit at level 1, and not taking the Icy Veins at level 13 is quite interesting.
How often do you see Icy Veins in Europe?
On the odd occasion when people go with this particular build, because it's the only mana regen you're getting. But I guess Ice Block does make sense considering just how much burst is coming out of Team Roccat. So just forgoing that mana regen in exchange for the Ice Block instead. So just an extra bit of sustain for her, and just relying on the fact that she can manage herself.
Well, yeah, the Ice Block will come down for that deny. Now, this is another tribute now spawning out. Roccat does not have a single one into the name. 2 out of 3 there for Virtus.pro. This could be the first Virtus curse, but it doesn't look like they're going to put up the fight.
Yep, they're just going instead for that bottom boss, and instant response from Roccat. The owl comes out from pretty much the only place it could be is the lower boss. Roccat already working on that top boss, though.
And so they're going to be sacrificing the tribute in trade for that boss. Of course, you know, the bottom has now been cleared out. So they should be able to just march right down through it. if they so choose, but it looks like they have other plans in terms of maybe engage. Don't know what the timer is on the Bruisers, but it doesn't look like that's actually going to be an option. There will be another tribute coming up here momentarily, so the big question is, will the teams defend bosses? Who will go get the tribute? Will there be a fight in lieu of stomping out that push?
We'll have to see. Both teams just defending the bosses, but now, like you did say, talent-wise, I'd like to point out that Falstad did go for the hammer time talent. Nice little bit of area control in the form of just that little mini stun that can really mess someone up. There? It is with secret weapon.
Right, okay, yeah. You see that actually cleared up quite a bit.
Yeah, you do indeed. But usually you'd throw Giant Killer in as opposed to the static shield.
The shield is just so that they don't get bursted down.
Very true.
The false, as I said, the Falstad as a duelist here, if he can find a Jaina, he could actually just straight up destroy the Jaina.
Yeah, probably, unless the ice block is pretty awesome and just blocks out the main, all of the main damage coming down. Tribute has spawned, and we do see Virtus.pro on the way to try and deny this, and there is Luna Flare coming out of Sebkea, just denying this for a little bit. Everyone is in position. Just throw out their abilities. Elderwood's Might is next. Web Blast coming down. Flame Strike on top of that Web Blast doesn't catch anyone. Owl will be enough to deny Soccer again. The Zoning Phoenix coming down from the Kale Fast. Flame Strike once again not hitting anyone. Stun again denies. There's the Water Elemental. They're going in onto Hasselhoff, but he vaults himself away to protect himself. And the Starfall zones most of Roccat to back up a bit. And BKB going very aggressively. Hasselhoff taking a lot of damage. The Essential Healing has been used. He gets stunned up again. Doing huge amounts of damage. Rain of Vengeance, but he's able to vault himself away. It hits that blast comes through. There's so much damage to Andy Lendy. But Brightwing comes in with the Blink Heal to keep him alive. Kunichan has the Living Bomb applied. BKB having to back up as well. And once again, the healers keeping everyone alive here, but Shadowmare giving chase onto Sebkea here. Unstable is up there with very low health. Hasselhoff is giving chase, but does not land it. Brightwing does die a bit lower down, and so does Tyrael, and Roccat able to turn around that engagement in their favor. And we already see Kael'thas already grabbing that tribute, and the rest of Roccat continue to give chase. Sebkea dodges the stun. Falstad's coming in though, so he does some zero trouble. There is the stun, and Sebkea does go down. Lands a stun of his own though. Web Blast has been used onto Jada here. Unstable having to back himself away, and Jada is pretty doomed here. Down she goes. That is a 4-for-0 in favor of Team Roccat, and they're going to get a keep.
They also got the tribute on the back of that as well. Big props to the Falstad not going down in that big fight. But again, you know, we talked about that shield talent. Every single opportunity the shield has gone off on top of Hasselhoff with that secret weapon, with the Jax.
Hasselhoff does go down there just quickly, and now Roccat are in full retreat. He got picked off, and now nice flame strike from Kael'thas, but we're seeing Virtus.pro continuing to give chase here. They're going on to Kael'thas. Nice knockup from Anubrak, and Chris turning around with the grab snaps as well, but he does go down. And we're seeing Roccat overextending here. Soke taking a lot of damage here. They're continuing to give chase. Brightwing continuing to blink forward. Gets the polymorph down to stop him from jumping. There is the jump, but Eldritch Might will come out in a sec to slow. Anubrak gets the knockup onto Unstable. Soccer does go down. The Owl comes out, does not hit anyone. Sport Millie is the last one alive for Team Roccat, but is able to burrow charge away, and he will live to fight another day. But the tribute has just spawned, and Virtus.pro basically have it for free, and that will be the first curse of the game for them.
4-0 into the counter 4-0. Falstad underestimating that Vala's dual build. I mean, it's Arrow, Vault, another
Surprise
Arrow.
Blood for Blood.
And yeah, surprise blood for blood. It's just like, you cannot let Vala single out your assassin like that. So yeah,
he just stood there. He didn't like move his way around so his warrior could tank it. He just stood there and took the damage. He's like, yeah, we can end. I can just vault away and then stun all the damage in one go.
Rhaegar was just probably like, yeah, I got Ancestral, don't worry. Oops. Like they underestimated the Vala damage right there.
Underestimated how quickly it can come out. It was a real mistake by them there. But now though, they are continuing to, Virtus.pro just continuing to try and make the most out of this tribute. Brightwing was in the top lane for a bit, just pushing that out, but now that the rest of Roccat have arrived, she will be backing up and joining her team in the mid lane, where they will be picking up the very last of the force of Team Roccat. And they will continue to be aggressive here, look for objectives as much as they can, but they will not overextend. They have learned their lesson.
Peekaboo is still just absolutely insane. Something to the credit here of Roccat is, yeah, they did overextend, but they got it to 78%. And even with this curse, I mean, like, there's no keep damage here. There's no threats. of ending the game for Virtus.pro. So even with that little bit of blunder, Virtus.pro will get 21st. Sure, it's not going to be a heck of a window though. And sure, okay, also looks like a boss is going to be there, going their way as well. But Roccat, they're going to hit 20. They are going to be able to defend, and there's no curse pressure left for Virtus.pro after this as well. One more fight, if Roccat can do that again, that is for sure going to be the end of the game against Virtus.
Very possible indeed. Both teams going to pick up the boss. We did see Virtus.pro try to make their way up to try and maybe get a pick off here, and Sport Billy going to have to borrow charge away as his B was stopped by Unstable, and we'll see Virtus.pro just start working on that boss when it's already only halfway down a lane. In the meantime, Brightwing's been in the bot lane just continuing to soak for this. Both teams with the level 20s available, but Falstad waiting to take his for as long as possible.
Brightwing does as Brightwing wants at this point. Yeah, you're right. He is kind of just holding out. Could be the Epic Fly, could be the Hinterlands. They're looking for that extra burst. I would expect Epic Fly on a map this big and as back and forth as it is. It can actually get him out of so many situations.
It could also be the Nexus Frenzy combined with that secret weapon talent can really drop quite a lot of damage.
Yep, that's definitely an option. Don't get to see a lot of
Wild Hammer. It is true.
So it is going to be the extra Hinterlands flat. All right.
It very much is. Just going for that extra burst damage, considering
there's a lot of discussion about that.
Let me just quickly have a look. Falstad currently has 0 stacks. So he's relying just purely on that extra damage. He needs to try and get his stacks up a bit.
Yeah, but they just all died. They got wiped, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But he went for that extra damage. He's relying on the fact that he can get his stacks back up without being picked off like last time. Very true.
Yeah, but it is the range of burst. Yeah, sure. The stacks aren't there. But, you know, one more good
still
team fight, and they will be there, yeah. All they have to do is get 5 kills.
We only have to kill their entire team.
God, yeah, it's not hard.
To get that
5
extra
kills.
damage.
Not
So
that
basically,
hard.
he gets the entire team and just like, yeah, this extra damage. What do I do with it? Hit land on core, and that's about it.
Now that we are level 20, though, Team Roccat has a big advantage going with their double warriors. Because if you look at the way that they build, they got the Web Blast, imposing presence on that Anubarak. We have, of course, the Reverberation build from Mirrodin as well, and both of them with the Hardened Shield. That is a very scary thing to deal with at level 20.
I hope you can hurry.
Very true indeed. Tribute has just spawned, and if Roccat can pick this up, it's going to be very difficult for Virtus.pro to do anything. For now, though, Roccat just grabbing that East camp, and will then all of them migrate their way to that Tribute as well. Virtus.pro mounting up. They are ready as well. Brightwing can teleport down straight away. She's probably going to need to quite quickly, as opposed to leaving it last minute like she would want to do. Ow. Sees that no one is in that area. Soccer is now envisioned. Who is going to be the one to deny first? It's going to be just the presence of Step here for the moment. Peekaboo sees where Sport Billy is. And Sport Billy very near to Jaina and Valor, who are in a very good angle here. And they're going to go on to Sport Billy. Sport Billy taking a lot of damage. Ancestral will keep alive though. Judgment in the bot there, Unstable, able to get himself away, but there's a bit of a scuffle going down here. Sport Billy does go down, but Soccer is right in the backline here. Hinterland comes down, but doesn't really land on anyone. And now Soccer is able to jump to prevent the stun. But Virtus.pro really coming out on top of that fight as they were able to get a kill, and they will grab this Tribute and delay the game out for a bit more, preventing that curse coming down from Roccat.
Hasu not really getting any kind of value out of the Hinterlands. The Rhaegar going down this early is immediately you sound the retreat. You were not going to be able to sustain against a Brightwing and a Tyrande on that one. So, you know, the nice collapse from Virtus on top of the Rhaegar. And, you know, the Blink play coming out of the Valor kept her going there as well. So, Roccat kind of split off into different directions. We actually had a good collapse from Virtus.pro. And as soon as that Rhaegar was done, I mean, that was the fight in a nutshell. So again, it's not the end of the world yet, but Team Rockat's definitely starting to slip since that core push.
Very much so, and Roccat just having so much trouble, like you said, just really struggling to end out the game here. They've been trying for so long now. They're just staying grouped up though. Rhaegar is now alive, so they can begin to be a bit more aggressive. We have a sort of mini death rush being set up by Virtus.pro though, and if Roccat aren't careful, they could very easily walk into it. Valor will now join them. And they're just hovering around. They're checking out. They're trying to see where Roccat are. And Roccat just being so cautious. They have shown most of themselves in this mid lane.
What are the timers on the boss?
42 seconds for the top boss, which is the soonest one. But there's Tribute. They're already in the good position for it, our Virtus.pro. In fact, looks like they're just going to chill here and try and zone this out for as long as possible. Brightwing can once again join them. when she does need to. And Roccat moving in here. Nice Flame Strike, though. Will spot 2 members here. Andy Lendy taking a lot of damage from this. Gets half health, in fact. And in comes Brightwing. Just needs to get that healing done. BKB takes another Flame Strike. And this is late game Kale Fast. So annoying. That peekaboo, though. So much extra vision there. Flame Strike, this time landing on SebKR. Just so much damage coming down here just from Chris alone. But there is the Water Elemental bolt over the wall from 2 members, but they do not get Chris. Chris gets out, but we're going to see Shadow Bear drop very low. He does go down, hit to that blast, takes down Valor though. Web Blast has been used onto the Jaina, and we do see the Brightwing go down, and now Virtus.pro are in basically trying to keep Valor alive, but there's no way they can save her. Ice Block though, will delay it out a bit, but she still goes down. She takes down Kael'thas as well though, but it is a 3 for 2 in favor of Roccat. They will get the tribute, and this will be a curse for them.
As I said, you know, Roccat definitely slipping a little bit, but by the end of it there, I mean, the Rhaegar immediately going down. Hasuob's the big difference right there. Not only did those auto attacks and the stuns come out really nice, but he got a really sweet Hinkling's Blast, which led into the Valley, into that Brightwing, which kind of turned the tables there on the Virtus.pro team. So it's still not a clear-cut victory yet, but with this curse, down 2 members, I'm not entirely too sure Roccat will be able to finish this out.
Yeah, they're in fact trying to go for the boss, but Virtus.pro tried to stop them, but they really overgreeded here and end up losing to Rande. Tyrael still fighting this. He's still hanging around this. There are catapults on the core. Tyrael's now currently in a web blast. What can he really do about this? The boss is going to go over, and now he's surrounded by 3 members. And there's the stuns, and he does go down far too greedy there out of Virtus.pro, but Unstable is alive, and he is going to clear up the mercenaries. They're in the top lane. Kuni-chan dealing with the bot lane, but with this curse and all members of Team Roccat alive, they are now in serious trouble because they gave up those 2 members way too late, because they're not going to be alive anytime soon.
There's a big chance now with that that blunder, a 5-on-3 defense, and still a little bit. Well, okay, the curse is actually about to finish up, but all the keeps are down. This is a naked core. Are we going to see that 78% rush?
Looks like they're thinking about it. They have a boss with them. And there they go. They are moving into this core. 3 members alive. They're going on to Brightwing. Brightwing taking huge amounts of damage, but is still alive. The Blizzard almost taking down Chris, and Unstable bolting onto Chris. Stable pick him up, but it's not enough. GG. And the damage is huge coming out of Roccat. Able to wipe that core in, what was that, 4 seconds?
It didn't take very long at all. Absolutely not. But it was a big flub from Virtus.pro for putting up the Tyrande, putting up that Tyrael into that top, trying to contest that boss. They really needed to be on their game for defense and mount the 5-man defense there as well. But, well, so, yeah, we see Team Roccat, they will redeem the double warrior comp. Definitely felt a lot better that round from them. The Falstad lasers coming down, you know, it was a little bit hit or miss, but it came through at the end of it. And at the level 20 mark, again, dealing with double hardened shields is one of the hardest things for a primarily squishy DPS team, because you can't get anything done with that 75% damage reduction.
Yeah, and that last fight as well, before the boss was starting to be taken over that tribute, that was a really big blunder by Jaina and Valor, because they had a really good idea of, well, this Kael'thas is actually really out of position down here. We're going to dive in, Water Elemental, Rain of Vengeance, and just try and wipe him out before he can have any chance to escape, and that's most of their damage gone. And if they managed it, it would have been great, but they didn't. They weren't able to finish him off before he just walked away. Rain of Vengeance didn't land on him at all, and Kael was able to back away, and suddenly, Jaina and Valor are trapped in this little horseshoe area with no protection. They don't have their bolts to get out anymore, because they both just used them aggressively. They've used their stuns of ACC, and their team's not near them enough to protect them, so they both just gave their lives pretty much instantly in that fight.
If they had led with the Tyrael Judgment into the combo, it might have been a bit of a different story, but even then, I mean, Rhaegar has the cleanse. Like, any kind of big stuns, immediately he saw the cleanse, immediately it was the blink. I mean, the team was so on point to keep Chris going with that Kael'thas that it was a gamble, and Virtus unfortunately lost that gamble. So you said that Team Roccat, one of the only teams you know, to take one of these points from Virtus.pro. They put another one on the board here in the quarterfinals, and that you got to be feeling good, as they're going to be moving into best of 3s tomorrow. Very
much so. But for now, we're going to head into a very quick break. But the next match that will be coming up very soon is going to be Na'Vi versus Fnatic, and that is going to be very exciting. So guys, hang around. We will be back after this break.